My boss said you're the man for the job.
But unavailable.
You have 10 seconds to change your mind.
5 seconds to remove your hand.
Miss Frank.
A little late for warnings, don't you think?
We changed the oil, gave it a tune-up, took out all the non-essentials. You've disappointed me. I've been thinking any idiot with a driver's license will do.
You're the man for the job.
One condition. I drive my own car.
Mission.
One condition. I drive my own car. I'm unavailable. You're fired.
Simon, don't think of this as just another job. Think of it as
hideous way for this!
I got you, my mate.
One more step, Frank. Can you remove it?
There's a transmitter plate close by. If I
Available.
You have 3 seconds to change your mind, or you're going to be...
boom. You can mention you bring.
Come on, one more.
Do. Boom.
Transporter 3. Transporter 3 is a fast and exciting action movie that came out in the year 2008. It is a French movie, but the actors speak in English, so many people around the world can enjoy it. The movie was directed by a man named Oliver Megaton, who helped bring all the cool action scenes to life. This is the third movie in a group called the Transporter Trilogy, which means there were two movies before it. Even though it's the last movie in the original three-part series, it wasn't the final Transporter film. In 2015, a new movie called The Transporter Refueled, also known as Transporter 4, came out with a new actor playing the hero. The hero of the story is a brave and smart man named Frank Martin. He is played by actor Jason Statham, who is famous for his strong action roles and doing his own stunts. Frank has a very unique job. He's not your everyday delivery guy. Instead, he drives a fast black car and delivers special packages for secret clients. He follows three strict rules: never change the deal, never ask names, and never open the package. Frank usually likes to stay quiet and do his job without getting into trouble. In Transporter 3, he goes back to France to live a calm life, but trouble finds him again. This time, Frank is given a very dangerous job. He has to drive across several countries in Europe with a young woman named Valentina, who has been kidnapped. She is the daughter of an important man in Ukraine who works for the government. Some bad people force Frank to take her on a long journey. They even put a special bracelet on his wrist that will explode if he moves too far from his car. Now Frank has to drive fast, stay close to the car, protect Valentina, and figure out how to escape from the villains. Along the way, he fights bad guys, jumps into action scenes, and shows his super driving skills. Transporter 3 became the most successful movie in the series. It earned $112.9 million at the box office, which means lots and lots of people went to see it in theaters. It made more money than Transporter 1 and Transporter 2. Fans loved the thrilling car chases, the exciting fights, and the cool gadgets. Jason Statham did an amazing job as Frank Martin, making him a favorite action hero for many viewers. Another fun character in the movie is Inspector Tarcone, played by Francois Berlind, who is Frank's helpful friend from the police. If you like action, fast cars, and a brave hero who always does the right thing, you will probably enjoy Transporter 3 a lot. One day, far away on the deep blue sea, a big cargo ship was sailing quietly. On that ship, two workers were doing their regular job when they were told to open a large shipping container. They were surprised and confused to see big metal barrels inside, filled with a greenish toxic liquid. The barrels had warning signs on them, but before they could even react, thick poisonous gas came out. The smell was so bad and strong that the two workers began to cough and feel very sick. They couldn't breathe properly, and sadly, they passed out and died because the gas was too dangerous. The captain of the ship knew these barrels were full of toxic waste, but he didn't care about the danger. Instead of helping or calling someone, he quietly threw the workers' bodies into the ocean, hoping no one could find out what happened. At the same time, in a sunny and beautiful place called the French Riviera, a small man named Frank Martin had just come back from a trip to Miami. He was spending some relaxing time with his good friend, Inspector Tarcone. They were sitting by the sea, holding their fishing rods and hoping to catch some fish. But they weren't having much luck. The fish just weren't biting that day. While they were talking and joking, Inspector Tarcone's phone rang. He answered the call and listened carefully. Someone reported that a fast, shiny black car, a powerful Audi A8, had raced through the border checkpoint in France. The car didn't stop for the customs officers and even managed to escape from the police. That made Inspector Tarcone very serious because it meant something dangerous or illegal could be going on. Far away in a city called Odessa, in the country of Ukraine, a man named Leonid Tomilenko was working in his office. He was an important person, the minister of the Environmental Agency. His job was to protect nature and keep the environment safe for people and animals. While he was reading some papers, he discovered a message that made him worried. The message came from a man named Jonas Johnson, who worked for a big company called Corp. But Jonas wasn't a good person. He was corrupt and only cared about making money. Jonas threatened Leonid and told him to start business talks with EcoCorp, even though their work was harmful to nature. Leonid didn't want to agree, but the message scared him. So now, strange and dangerous things were happening in different places. There was a mystery involving toxic waste on a ship, a fast car escaping the police, and a powerful company trying to do bad things to the environment. Frank Martin, the brave and clever hero, didn't know it yet, but soon he would be pulled into this adventure. He would have to use his driving skills, his strength, and his mind to stop the bad guys, solve the mystery, and make sure that no one else got hurt. And so, the thrilling journey was about to begin. That's right. When everyone was quiet and dark, that something very surprising happened. Frank Martin was resting at his home when suddenly, crash! A fast black car came speeding through the street and smashed right into Frank's house. The car was the same black Audi A8 that had escaped the police earlier. Frank ran outside quickly and was shocked to see the driver was hurt and bleeding. It was a man named Malcolm Melville, someone Frank knew before, a long time ago. Frank had been asked to do a job, but he said no and suggested Malcolm instead. Now Malcolm had come back, badly injured, crashing into Frank's home. Paramedics, the emergency helpers, came to take care of Malcolm and put him in an ambulance. While everyone was busy helping Malcolm, Frank noticed something strange. In the back seat of the car, there was a woman sitting quietly. Her name was Valentina. When Frank tried to help her out of the car, she quickly warned him, "Please don't take me out of the car." At first, Frank didn't understand why she was afraid. Then he looked closely and saw something shiny on her wrist. It was a metal bracelet. He realized that both Valentina and Malcolm were wearing those strange bracelets. Suddenly, it all made sense. The bracelets were dangerous and had bombs inside them. If they moved too far away from the car, the bracelets would explode. Just then, the ambulance carrying Malcolm drove away with sirens blaring. But after a short distance, there was a huge explosion. Boom! The ambulance burst into flames, and poor Malcolm was gone. Frank was very upset. Before he could think or do anything else, something hit him very hard on the head. Everything went black, and Frank fell to the ground. When he finally woke up, his head was hurting, and he was very confused. But then he saw something scary. He was now wearing one of those dangerous metal bracelets too. Someone had trapped him, and now he couldn't leave the car either, just like Valentina. A mean and powerful man named Jonas Johnson appeared and told Frank he had no choice. Jonas was the same bad man who had threatened the environmental minister earlier. He had a gang of strong and dangerous helpers. Johnson said, "You have to drive a special package and take Valentina with you all the way to a city called Budapest. If you try to escape or go too far from the car, the bracelet will explode." Frank was angry but knew he had to play smart to survive and help Valentina too. He started the car, knowing a new and risky journey had begun. Now Frank would need all his skills, courage, and clever thinking to get through this challenge and stop the bad guys once and for all. Far away in the country of Ukraine, the bad company EcoCorp was up to no good. The leader of the company had made a secret and sneaky deal with Mr. Tomilenko, the minister who was supposed to protect nature and the environment. EcoCorp told him they wanted to bring a big ship full of toxic, poisonous waste into the country, and they wanted him to quietly let it happen without telling anyone. Even worse, EcoCorp said that this was only the beginning. They were planning to send 7 more ships full of that dangerous waste. They gave Tomilenko only one day to sign a paper that would make the deal official. Tomilenko felt trapped and scared, but he didn't want to let them win. So he came up with a plan. Tomilenko called his own team of secret agents and gave them an important mission. He told them to try and find out where Frank Martin was going. The only way to know Frank's destination was to check the GPS, which is the navigation system inside Malcolm's black Audi car. That GPS still had the delivery route, and it could help them understand what EcoCorp was planning. Meanwhile, Frank was still driving the car with Valentina beside him. She was nervous but trying to stay brave. At the same time, Inspector Tarconi, Frank's smart and loyal friend, was busy doing research on a computer. He was digging through files, old news, and secret records to learn more about Jonas Johnson, the bad man who put the bomb bracelets on Frank and Valentina. Frank didn't want to just keep driving without answers. He made a bold decision. He went off the planned road and drove to see his old friend, Otto. Otto was a super talented mechanic who could fix any car or gadget. Frank hoped Otto could find a way to stop the bomb in the car and maybe even remove the dangerous bracelets. Otto was surprised to see Frank and worried when he heard the full story. He immediately got to work. opening up parts of the car and checking all the wires and devices. But as they were trying to fix things, trouble came their way. Johnson's dangerous men had been watching and following Frank. They showed up at Otto's place and shouted at Frank to get back on the road. Frank didn't like being bossed around by bullies. He stood tall and got ready to fight. A wild battle began. Frank kicked, punched, and used his quick moves to fight off the bad guys. He was brave and strong, and in the end, he managed to make them run away. But sadly, even after all the effort, Otto couldn't stop the explosions system inside the car. The bomb transmitter was too complicated and powerful. Frank thanked Otto for trying, then got back into the car with Valentina. Now they had no choice but to continue the dangerous trip, with the bomb still active and time running out. Frank knew he had to stay strong, not just to save himself but to protect Valentina and stop the evil plans of EcoCorp and Jonas Johnson. Frank kept driving carefully and finally reached a big, busy city called Budapest, which is the capital of Hungary. Just when things seemed calm, something terrible happened. One of Jonas Johnson's sneaky men jumped into the car while Frank was outside and drove away with Valentina still inside. Frank was shocked and didn't want to lose her, but he didn't have a car to follow them. Thinking fast, Frank grabbed a bicycle from nearby and began pedaling as fast as he could through the city streets. He dodged cars, turned sharp corners, and zoomed down hills until he finally caught up with the stolen car. With great courage and clever thinking, Frank stopped the thief, got Valentina back safely, and took control of the car again. Just when Frank thought they were safe, his phone buzzed. It was another message from the mean boss, Johnson. He changed the plan again and told Frank to take the car and Valentina all the way to another city called Bucharest, which is the capital of Romania. Frank sighed but knew he had no choice but because of the explosive bracelet on his wrist. As they drove along the road, another black car started chasing them. It was a black Mercedes-Benz E-Class, and inside were agents sent by Tomilenko, Valentina's father, who still didn't know where his daughter was or who was helping her. Frank was a fantastic driver, and with his quick moves and sharp turns, he made the car chase exciting. At one point, he drove so smartly that the chasing car flew off a cliff and crashed far below. While driving, Frank started to realize something very important. Valentina was not just a regular passenger. She was the real package that Johnson wanted to deliver. That's why the bracelet was on her wrist too. She was the secret cargo. And Frank understood now that the whole trip was really about her. Later, when they stopped for a break and Frank left the car keys on the table, Valentina grabbed them and jokingly pointed the keys at him like a boss. She told him to take off his shirt, trying to show she could be silly and in control too. They laughed together and talked more, and slowly became good friends. For the first time, they both feel like they could trust each other. As they talked more during their long trip, Valentina shared her true story with Frank. She told him that she was Leonid Tomilenko's daughter. A little while ago, she had gone on a vacation to a place called Ibiza, which is also known as Ibiza, a sunny island. But during the trip, Some bad people gave her a drug without her knowing, and she was kidnapped while she was sleeping. The man who transported her in the car was Malcolm, the same person who crashed into Frank's house. Malcolm was working for Johnson, who wanted to use Valentina as a way to scare her father into signing the bad deal with EcoCorp. How Frank understood everything. He promised to protect Valentina no matter what and to help stop Johnson's evil plan. Frank and Valentina kept driving, following the instructions from the evil man, Jonas Johnson. This time, Johnson told them to go all the way to a city called Odessa, which was part of his sneaky plan. When Frank and Valentina were crossing a big bright beach, Johnson and his team of bad guys suddenly showed up and set trap. They blocked the road, grabbed Valentina, and took off her dangerous bracelet. Now she was safe from the bomb, but Frank was still wearing his. The Batman pushed Frank and his car off the bridge into a deep lake. The water was cold and dark, and Johnson thought Frank would never survive. But Frank was very clever. He used the air from the car's tires to fill a big plastic bag. That bag floated like a balloon and helped the car rise up from the bottom of the lake. As the car floated to the surface, Frank was saved just in time by Inspector Tarkoni and some helpful Ukrainian police officers. They had been searching for him and finally arrived to help. Together they made a plan to rescue Valentina, who had been taken in onto a speeding train by Johnson. Johnson was still trying to force Valentina's father, Tomilenko, to sign a paper that would allow the poisonous ships to come into the country. He gave Tomilenko only 15 minutes to decide. Meanwhile, Frank got back into his strong black Audi and drove super fast, chasing the train. Then, in a big, exciting moment, he jumped the car high into the air and landed it right on top of the train. He thought bravely and defeated all of Johnson's bodyguards. But then Frank noticed something very important. Johnson and Valentina were now on a different part of the train, and it was too far from Frank to reach. Johnson had disconnected the train's cars, leaving himself and Valentina on one part and Frank on another. But Frank didn't give up. He rushed back to his car, backed up a little, and jumped the Audi once again, crashing right into the part of the train where Johnson was holding Valentina. The final fight began. Frank and Johnson wrestled and punched and rolled through the train car. In the end, Frank defeated Johnson, took the key from him, and did something very smart. He took off his own bracelet and put it on Johnson instead. Then Frank jumped back into his car and sent it flying backwards down the train track. The car went far away from the train, and since Johnson was now wearing the bomb bracelet, he couldn't stay close to the car. As soon as he got too far away, boom! The bracelet exploded, and Johnson was gone. The danger was over, and Frank was finally safe. He smiled and gave Valentina a big hug. Back in Odessa, Tomilenko was told by Tarkoni that his daughter was safe. He was so happy that he tore up the contract from EcoCorp and promised never to help them again. The police also stormed the cargo ship, stopped the toxic waste, and arrested the people who were part of the evil plan. Later on, back in Marseilles, France, Frank and his friend Tarkoni were fishing again, just like old times. and this time Valentina joined them, smiling happily, ready for a peaceful new life. In Transporter 3, Jason Statham plays the main hero, a smart and strong man named Frank Martin. Frank is known as the transporter because his job is to deliver packages from one place to another. No questions asked. He drives super fast, stays calm in dangerous situations, and follows his own special rules. But in this movie, Frank is tricked into doing a job that is too more dangerous than ever before. He is forced to wear a metal bracelet that has a bomb inside it, which will explode if he moves too far away from his car. This time, he must not only deliver a mysterious package but also protect a young woman named Valentina, who turns out to be the daughter of a powerful government leader. Jason Statham did an amazing job acting as Frank Martin. He showed how brave, smart, and caring Frank really is. Even though Frank looks serious on the outside, he has a kind heart and always tries to do the right thing. He has many exciting scenes where he drives his black Audi super fast, jumps his car onto a moving train, and fights off a lot of bad guys. Jason Statham performed many of his own stunts, which means he really did the action scenes himself, jumping, running, fighting, and driving. He made everything look real and exciting. Kids who watch him will see that he is like a superhero without powers, just using his strength, brains, and courage. But Frank had to face many hard problems in this movie. First, he didn't choose to take this job. He was tricked and forced into it by a man named Jonas Johnson. Frank used to protect Valentina, find out the truth about what was really going on, and figure out how to stop the bomb bracelet from exploding. He also had to escape from car chases, survive falling into a lake, and fight against strong enemies who were trying to hurt him. Through all of this, Frank never gave up. Even when he was hurt or scared, he kept going to help others and stop the bad guys. That shows what a real hero does. They keep going even when things are really tough. In the end, thanks to Jason Statham's amazing acting, Frank Martin became a true hero that kids can cheer for. He saved Valentina, stopped the evil plans of the villains, and helped the police catch the people who were trying to poison the environment with toxic waste. The movie ends with Frank relaxing with his friends, smiling, and enjoying peace. Jason Statham made the character of Frank exciting, cool, and kind. Someone who fights for good and never lets evil win. That's why so many people, including kids and adults, love Frank Martin, and why Jason Statham's performance in Transporter 2 is remembered as one of his best. In Transporter 3, Natalia Rudakova plays a very important role as Valentina Tomilenko. Valentina is the daughter of a powerful man named Leonid Tomilenko, who works in the government to protect the environment in Ukraine. At the beginning of the movie, Valentina is in big trouble. Some bad people kidnapped her and plan to use her to scare her father. They want her father to sign a deal that will allow poisonous waste into the country. To stop her from escaping, the bad guys put a dangerous metal bracelet on her wrist. If she moves too far from a special car, the bracelet could explode. Valentina is scared, but she becomes brave and strong as she meets Frank Martin, the transporter. Natalia Rudakova gave a very special performance in her role as Valentina. Even though this was her very first movie, she acted with real emotion and heart. At first, Valentina seems shy and quiet, but as the movie goes on, she becomes more confident. She shows that she is not just someone who needs help. She is also smart, funny, and full of personality. She teases Frank, tries to take control of situations, and even helps him when things get dangerous. Many kids will like Valentina because she is not just sitting and waiting to be rescued. She becomes part of the adventure and shows she can stand up for himself too. But Valentina had to face a lot of big problems in this story. First, she was kidnapped and taken far away from home without knowing why. Then she was trapped in a car with a bomb bracelet, not allowed to go far or even feel safe. She missed her father and didn't know if she would ever see him again. On top of all that, the people around her were strangers, and she didn't know if she could trust them. But over time, Valentina and Frank became friends, even in the middle of danger. Valentina learned to stay strong and brave. She made clever choices and showed she was much more than just a passenger. She was a real hero too. At the end of the movie, Valentina is finally saved, thanks to Frank. She is reunited with her father, who is so happy that she is safe. Her father realizes the truth and tears up the bad contract, choosing to do the right thing. Natalia Rudakova's acting made Valentina's feel real, like a person with feelings, fears, and courage. She helped show that girls can be strong and smart, even when they are in scary situations. Valentina's story teaches kids that no matter how hard life gets, being brave, trusting the right people, and believing in yourself can help you get through anything. In Transporter 3, Francois Berlind plays Inspector Tarconi, a kind, smart, and funny police officer who is also one of Frank Martin's best friend. He worked as a police inspector in France, and even though his job is to catch people who break the law, he always believes in Frank and helps him when he is in trouble. At the beginning of the movie, Tarconi is spending a relaxing day with Frank. They are by the water trying to catch fish, just like two good buddies enjoying some peace and quiet. But their peaceful day doesn't last long. Soon they hear that a black Audi has zoomed past customs, and the wild adventure begins. Inspector Tarconi's biggest contribution in the movie is being Frank's helper from the outside. While Frank is out on the road dealing with danger, car chases, and explosions, Tarconi stays behind and uses his brain to solve the puzzle. He does a lot of research on the evil man, Jonas Johnson, and finds out that Johnson is forcing a bad deal on Valentina's father, Tomilenko. Tarconi looks at maps, talks to people, and figures out where Frank might be going. He works like a detective, putting all the clues together so he can help Frank from far away. He does drive fast cars or get into big fights like Frank, but he uses his mind and heart, and that makes him just as important as to the mission. Even though Tarconi is not trapped or chased like Frank, he still faces his own problems. It's not always easy to help someone when you are far away. He has to use computers, phones, and his knowledge to try to track down clues and stay one step ahead of the villains. He also has to deal with people who don't understand what's really going on, and he has to convince them to help. But Tarconi never gives up. He works day and night to make sure Frank and Valentina stay safe. And in one exciting moment, he even shows up at the right time with the Ukrainian police to rescue Frank from the lake after his car is pushed off the bridge. In the end, Inspector Tarconi is a hero in his own special way. He tells Tomilenko that his daughter Valentina is safe, which makes Tomilenko so happy that he rips up the evil contract. Tarconi helps make sure the bad guys are caught and the cargo ship full of toxic waste is stopped. Francois Berlin played the role perfectly. He made Tarconi kind, funny, and wise. He shows kids that heroes don't always need to fight or run fast. Sometimes using your brain, staying loyal to your friends, and doing the right thing can make you just as brave. That's why Inspector Tarconi is such a loved and important part of Transporter 3. In Transporter 3, Jorion Krabbe plays Leonid Tomilenko, an important and serious man who works as the environmental agency minister in Ukraine. His job is to protect the environment and make sure dangerous things like toxic waste don't hurt the land, the water, or the people. He is a good man who cares a lot about keeping nature safe and stopping bad companies from polluting. But in the movie, he faces a big problem because of a company called EcoCorp wants to bring many ships full of toxic waste into his country. They want him to sign papers that would let this happen, even though it would be very harmful. Zeroen Grabe gave a strong and serious performance as Leonid Tomilenko. He showed how worried and stressed Tomilenko was because of the dangerous situation. Even though Tomilenko wants to do the right thing, he faces a lot of pressure from the bad people who want to force him into making a bad choice. Zeroen made the character feel real and important. Someone who has a big responsibility to protect his people and the environment. Kids can see how hard it can be to make tough decisions, especially when people try to scare or threaten you. Tomilenko's calm and determined attitude helps show how important it is to stay strong and brave. Tomilenko also had many problems to face in the story. The worst was when his daughter, Valentina, was kidnapped by the bad man Jonas Johnson. Johnson used Valentina to try to control Tomilenko and force him to sign the contract allowing the toxic waste ships into the country. Tomilenko felt very worried and scared for his daughter's safety, but he refused to give in to the threats at first. It was a very hard time for him because he had to protect both his daughter and the environment. He also had to trust people like Frank and Inspector Tarconi to help save Valentina and stop the bad plan. In the end, Leonid Tomilenko's character teaches us about courage and doing the right thing, even when it's really difficult. After Frank and the police saved Valentina, Tomilenko felt happy and relieved. He understood how important it was to protect his country and his family. He tore up the contract from EcoCorp, showing that he would not let greed and pollution win. Zeroen Krabbe's acting helped everyone understand the value of honesty, love, and standing up for what is right. Tomilenko reminds kids that even grown ups sometimes face big problems, but with courage and help from friends, good things can happen. In Transporter 3, Alex Gobold plays Leonid Tomilenko's aide, which means he helps and supports Leonid Tomilenko, the important environmental agency minister. An aide's job is to make sure everything runs smoothly for the minister. He helps by giving advice, organizing meetings, and keeping Leonid updated about what is happening around him. Even though he is not the main character, Leonid's aide plays an important role by helping Leonid manage his work and deal with problems. He works quietly behind the scenes, but without people like him, things would be much harder for the minister. Alex Cobol's performance as the aide was calm and responsible. He acts like a serious helper who is always ready to assist Leonid. He listens carefully to instructions and tries to do his best to support Leonid in difficult situations. Sometimes the aide has to deal with stressful news, like when Leonid is under pressure from the bad company, EcoCorp, or when his daughter Valentina is kidnapped. Even though the problems are big and scary, the aide stays professional and helps Leonid stay focused on protecting the environment and his family. His calm behavior shows kids that being helpful and steady is very important, especially when things get tough. The aide also faces some problems during the movie. One problem is that he must keep secrets and handle sensitive information carefully. Since there are many bad people trying to trick Leonid and hurt his family, the aide has to be careful when he trusts. Another problem is that he has to work fast and solve problems without making mistakes because there isn't much time to stop the bad plans. Although he does not fight or drive cars like Frank Martin, the aide's job is very important because he supports the people who do. His hard work helps the good guys stay one step ahead of the bad guys. In the end, Alex Cobol's role as Leonid's aide reminds us how teamwork is important. Even though he is not the star of the movie, he shows that helping others quietly and doing your job well can make a big difference. He supports Leonid Tomilenko and helps protect Valentina and the environment. Kids can learn from his character that everyone has a role to play, and working together is the best way to solve big problems. Thanks to the aide and other helpers, the heroes can focus on their missions, and the story reaches a happy ending. In Transporter 3, Katia Chechenko plays the role of Leonid Tomilenko's secretary. A secretary's job is very important because she helps the minister stay organized and makes sure everything works smoothly. She answers phones, arranges meetings, writes letters, and takes notes when Leonid talks to the other important people. Even though she might not be in the middle of all the exciting action, her work helps Leonid manage the big problems he faces. Without a good secretary like her, it would be very hard for Leonid to do his important job protecting the environment and making big decisions. Katya Chenko's performance as the secretary shows her as a calm, helpful, and careful person. She listens well and always does her tasks quite quickly and correctly. In the movie, she helps Leonid stay focused by handling all the little but important details so he can think about the big problems. She also looks concerned when things get difficult, like when the bad company EcoCorp tries to pressure Leonid and when his daughter Valentina is in danger. Her acting makes it clear that secretaries are very important helpers who support leaders every day, even during stressful times. The secretary also faces some problems during the story. Sometimes she has to deal with every serious and scary news, but she cannot panic or make mistakes. She needs to stay strong and keep working even when things are confusing or dangerous. She might also need to keep secrets about the bad people's plans to protect Leonid and Valentina. This means she must be very trustworthy and careful about what she says and does, even though she is not the one fighting or chasing bad guys. She has a big responsibility to make sure the minister can do his job well. In the end, Katyachenko's role as the secretary teaches kids that every job, big or small, is important for success. She helps Leonid Tomilenko protect his daughter and stop the bad plans by being organized and reliable. Her character shows that people who work behind the scenes help heroes in many ways. Kids can learn that helping others quietly but well is a great way to be a hero too. Thanks to her hard work and support, the good guys in Transporter 3 can do their best and save the day. In Transporter 3, David Atrakchi plays Malcolm Manville, a transporter who has an important but difficult job. A transporter is someone who drives cars and delivers important packages or people safely from one place to another. Malcolm was supposed to do a special job for Frank Martin, the main hero of the movie, but Frank decided not to hire him. Later, Malcolm appears again, driving a black Audi that crashes into Frank's home. Malcolm is hurt in the crash, and paramedics come to help him. Even though Malcolm is a small part of the story, his actions start a big adventure for Frank and Valentina, which leads to exciting and dangerous moments. David Atrakchi's performance as Malcolm showed a brave but troubled character. Malcolm looked serious and worried because he is caught in a dangerous plan he cannot control. He wears a metal bracelet that can explode if he moves too far away from the car, which makes his job very scary and stressful. Even though Malcolm tries to do his job well, he is hurt and trapped by the bad people who want to use him. David acted in a way that helps kids understand how scary it is to be caught in a bad situation but still try to be strong. Malcolm's character adds tension to the story and shows that sometimes people get hurt even when they try to do the right thing. Malcolm faces many problems during the movie. The biggest problem is that he is forced to work for the bad man Jonas Johnson, who uses him to kidnap Valentina. Malcolm is not a bad person, but he gets hurt and trapped because of the dangerous job. After the crash, he is taken away by ambulance, but sadly, the ambulance explodes and Malcolm dies. This is very sad because he was caught in a plan bigger than himself and could not escape. His death shows that how dangerous the villain's plan is and pushes Frank to fight harder to save Valentina and stop the bad people. In the end, Malcolm Manville's character teaches kids about bravery and being caught in tough situations. Even though he was not the hero like Frank, Malcolm still played an important role in the story by starting the adventure and showing how dangerous the villains are. David Attracti's acting helped make Malcolm a real person who faces fear and danger, which makes the movie more exciting and interesting. Malcolm reminds us that sometimes people get hurt while trying to do their jobs, and it's important to be careful and brave, just like Frank, who helps save the day. In Transporter 3, Jan Sandberg plays a character named Flag. Flag is one of the men who works for the bad villain Jonas Johnson. His job is to help catch Frank Martin, the hero of the movie, and to make sure the bad plans go smoothly. Flag and the other bad guys try many times to stop Frank and Valentina from escaping or finishing their mission. Even though Flag is not the main villain, he is very important because he creates challenges and dangers for the good guys. His actions make the story more exciting because he always tries to stop Frank and keep control of the situation. Jan Sandberg's performance as Flag shows him as a tough and determined bad guy. He acts like someone who is serious about his job and does not give up easily. In the movie, Flag chases Frank in many places, tries to catch Valentina, and fights with the good guys, even though he is on the bad side. Jan made Flag a strong and believable character who works hard to do what his boss tells him. His acting helps kids understand that even bad characters can be clever and brave in their own way, but they are still the ones causing trouble. Flag faces some big problems too. One problem is that Frank is very smart and strong, and he keeps escaping from Flag and the other bad men. This makes Flag frustrated and angry because he cannot catch Frank easily. Also, the dangerous situations and fights sometimes put Flag in danger. He has to be careful because Frank is very good at driving cars and fighting. Jan Sandberg's acting shows how Flag feels both angry and worried because he wants to win, but he is not always successful. These problems make Flag's character more interesting and show that bad guys can have hard times too. In the end, Jan Sandberg's role as Flag helps make the movie more exciting and full of action. Even though Flag is a bad guy, he adds a lot to the story by making the hero's journey more difficult. Kids can learn from his character that in stories, every person has a part to play, whether they are good or bad. Flag's efforts to catch Frank show how important it is to keep trying, even if things are hard. Thanks to actors like Jan Sandberg, Transporter 3 becomes a fun and thrilling movie with many adventures. In Transporter 3, Eric Iboneni plays a character named Ice. Ice is one of the strong and tough men who works for the bad villain Jonas Johnson. His job is to help catch Frank Martin, the hero, and make sure the bad plans happen without problem. Ice is like a big helper for Jonas Johnson and is very strong and serious. He often fights with Frank and tries to stop him from saving Valentina and stopping the bad people. Even though Ice is not the main bad guy, he is very important because he makes the story exciting with his strength and actions. Eric Ibowani's performance as Ice shows him as a very strong and brave man. He acts like a powerful and serious helper for the villain, ready to do whatever it takes to catch Frank and keep control. Ice does many action scenes where the fights and chases Frank. Eric makes Ice look very tough, so kids can understand that sometimes villains have helpers who are strong and hard to beat. But even though Ice is strong, he is not a bad person deep inside. He is just following orders from his boss. This makes his character more interesting because he is not the main villain, just one part of the bad team. Ice faces some big problems during the movie. The biggest problem is Frank Martin himself. Frank is very clever and skilled, and he always finds ways to escape from Ice and the other bad men. This makes Ice frustrated and angry because he cannot catch Frank easily. Sometimes Ice gets hurt or fails in his mission, which makes things difficult for him. Eric Ebon's shows these feelings well, helping kids understand that even strong people can have tough times and need to keep trying hard. Ice's struggle makes the movie more exciting because there are many action scenes and fights. In the end, Eric Ebony's role as Ice adds lots of excitement and action to the movie. Even though Ice is one of the bad guys, his character helps make the story fun and thrilling for the audience. Kids can learn from Ice's character that even when things are difficult, it is important to be brave and keep trying. Ice's strength and loyalty shows how the helpers of villains also have a role to play in stories. Thanks to Eric Ebony's character, Transporter 3 becomes a movie full of adventure, challenges, and excitement. In Transporter 3, David Comenos plays a character called Driver Market. Driver Market is one of the main people who work in the world of fast cars and deliveries, just like Frank Martin, the hero. Although his role is smaller than some others, Driver Market helps make the story more real by showing how many drivers and helpers are involved in busy places like markets and streets. He is seen driving cars and being part of the action scenes where the story takes place. His job is important because it adds to the busy and exciting feeling of the movie, making it look like a real busy world where many people are trying to get things done. David Comenos' performance as Driver Market is quiet but important. He doesn't have a lot of big scenes, but he acts well to fit into the busy and fast-moving world of the movie. He drives carefully and reacts to the fast chases and happenings around him. Even though Driver Market is not the hero or the villain, David shows that even small roles need good acting to make the movie look real and interesting. His work helps the story move smoothly, and his presence adds more excitement to the chase and car scenes. Driver Market faces some small problems in the movie, mostly because the story has many dangerous car chases and fast actions. Drivers like him have to be very careful and quick to avoid accidents and trouble. Sometimes the streets are filled with police, villains, and heroes all chasing each other, which can be confusing and scary. David Comenos shows in his role how a driver in such a busy and dangerous world needs to stay calm and focused. Even though Driver Market does not fight or have big problems like Frank or the villains, his careful driving and attention help keep the story moving. In the end, David Comenos' role as Driver Market reminds us that every person in a story, big or small, helps make the movie exciting and funny. Even characters who do not say much or have big fights are important because they make the movie's world feel real. Kids can learn that in any big adventure or busy place, many people work together and everyone's job matters. Thanks to actors like David Comenos, Transporter 3 shows a lively and exciting world full of interesting characters, big and small. In Transporter 3, Silvio Simek plays a character named Mighty Joey. Mighty Joey is one of the strong and tough helpers who work for the bad villains, Jonas Johnson. His job is to help catch Frank Martin, the hero of the movie, and make sure the bad plans happen without any problems. Mighty Joey is known for being very big and strong, so he is called Mighty Joey. He is part of the team that chases Frank and Valentina and tries to stop them from escaping. Even though he is not the main villain, Mighty Joe's strength and size make him an important character because he helps create danger and excitement in the story. Silvio Simek's performance as Mighty Joey shows him as a very powerful and serious person. He acts like someone who is ready to fight and protect his boss no matter what. Mighty Joey is involved in many action scenes where he uses his strength to try and catch Frank or fight him. Silvio Simek's acting make Mighty Joey look strong and bit scary. So kids can understand that some characters in movies are very tough helpers for the bad guys. Even though Mighty Joey is a villain's helper, his character adds to the fun and action of the movie because he makes the hero's job harder and more interesting. Mighty Joey faces many problems during the movie. The biggest problem is Frank Martin himself. Frank is very clever and skilled, and he always finds ways to escape from Mighty Joey and the other bad men. This makes Mighty Joey frustrated because he cannot catch Frank easily. Sometimes Mighty Joey gets into fights where he is hurt or has to run away. Silvio Simek's acting helps show how Mighty Joey feels angry and determined, but also sometimes surprised by Frank's cleverness. These problems make Mighty Joey's character more interesting and show that even strong people can have a tough time when facing a smart hero. In the end, Silvio Simek's role as Mighty Joey adds a lot of excitement and action to the Transporter 3. Mighty Joey's strength and loyalty to the villain makes the story more thrilling and fun to watch. Kids can learn from Mighty Joey's character that being strong is important, but being clever and brave, like Frank, can help win difficult battles. Thanks to Silvio Simek's acting, Mighty Joey becomes a memorable and important part of the movie, making Transporter 3 full of adventure, challenges, and exciting moments. In Transporter 3, Oscar Relier plays a character known as thug or driver. This means he is one of the many bad guys who work for the villain Jonas Johnson. His job is to help the bad team by driving cars fast and sometimes causing trouble for Frank Martin, the hero. Although his role is not very big like the main characters, Oscar's part helps make the story exciting. He is part of the group that chases Frank and tries to stop him from saving Valentina. By being a driver and a tough person, Oscar's character adds action and danger to the movie's exciting car chases and fights. Oscar Relier's performance as thug or driver shows him as a determined and serious helper for the villain. Even though he is not the star of the movie, he acts well to make the bad guys team feel strong and scary. He drives fast and sometimes fights to catch the hero or protect the villain's plans. Oscar's acting helps show that even smaller roles are important in action movies because they make the story feel real and full of energy. His character is one of the many obstacles that Frank has to face and overcome in his adventure. Like many bad guys in the movie, Oscar's character faces some problems too. The biggest problem is Frank Martin himself. Frank is very smart and strong, and he often escapes from Oscar and the other bad men. This makes Oscar's character feel frustrated because their plans keep failing. Also, the dangerous car chases and fights can be hard and risky for him. Oscar Reliar's acting shows that even though he is on the bad side, he, his character has to work very hard and deal with difficult situations. These problems add excitement to the movie and show how tough the hero's journey really is. In the end, Oscar Reliar's role as tug or driver helps make Transporter 3 more thrilling and full of action. Even smaller characters like these play an important part in creating the challenges the hero faces. Kids can learn that every person in a story, no matter how big or small their role is, helps make the story exciting and interesting. Thanks to Oscar, Relier, and actors like him, Transporter 3 becomes a fun movie with lots of fast cars, brave heroes, and daring adventures. In Transporter 3, the Dirks plays a character named Otto. Otto is a very important friend of Frank Martin. He is a clever and skilled mechanic who means he knows a lot about fixing cars and making them work better. When Frank faces trouble with escaping the cars he is driving because it has a dangerous explosive bracelet attached, he goes to Otto for help. Otto tries to find out a way to stop the explosive device so that Frank and Valentina, the girl he is protecting, can be saved. Otto's knowledge about cars make him a very useful and trustworthy friend in the movie. Timo Dirk's performance as Otto is a calm and smart. He acts like a friendly and clever helper who cares about Frank and wants to keep him safe. Even though Otto is not involved in fighting or chasing scenes, his role is very important because he helps Frank with the tricky problems of the explosive bracelet. Timo shows Otto is someone who thinks carefully and uses his brain to solve problems, which is just as important as being strong or fast. Kids can learn from Otto's character that being smart and helpful is very good quality. Otto faces big problems during the movie because the explosive bracelet is very dangerous and hard to remove. He tries his best to take it off and keep everyone safe, but the device is made to be very tricky and risky. Otto feels worried and pressured because if he fails, Frank and Valentina could get hurt. This makes his job very difficult, and Timo Dirks shows these feelings well by acting serious and focused. Otto's struggle teaches kids that sometimes helping others means working hard and not giving up, even when things are scary or tough. In the end, Timo Dirks' role as Otto adds an important part of the story of Transporter. 3. He is the smart friend who supports the hero behind the scenes, helping solve problems that fighting alone cannot fix. Kids can learn from Otto's character that everyone has different skills, and working together can help win any challenge. Thanks to Timo Dirks, Otto becomes a memorable and kind character who helps make adventures safer and smarter for Frank and Valentina. In Transporter 3, Igor Kompman plays a Ukrainian police officer. His role is to help keep people safe and catch the bad guys in the story. As a police officer, he works with Frank Martin and his friend Inspector Tarconi to stop the villain Jonas Johnson and his dangerous plans. Although Igor's role is not very big, being a police officer is very important because he helps protect the people and makes sure the bad men do not get away with their crimes. The Ukrainian cop is part of the team that tries to find Valentina and save her from danger. Igor Kompan's performance as the Ukrainian cop shows him as brave and serious. He acts like someone who wants to do the right thing and keep order. Even though his role has fewer lines and scenes than the main characters, he helps make the story feel real by showing what the police do during a big adventure. His acting helps kids understand that police officers work hard and sometimes face difficult situations when stopping criminals. Igor's character adds trust and strength to the team trying to save the day. As a police officer, Igor's character faces some problems and dangers. The villains, especially Jonas Johnson and his helpers, are very clever and strong. They try to hide from the police and make it hard for them to catch them. This means Igor's character has to be very careful and brave, sometimes risking his own safety. He also has to work quickly because time is very important in the story, especially to save Valentina before it is too late. Igor Kompan's acting shows how a police officer must stay calm and focused even when the situation is scary and dangerous. In the end, Igor Kompan's role as the Ukrainian cop helps make Transporter 3 more exciting and realistic. His character reminds kids that police officers are helpers who protect people and work hard to stop bad things from happening. Even though he is a smaller character, this work in the movie is important because it shows teamwork and bravery. Thanks to Igor Kompan, the movie feels more complete and shows how many people come together to help the hero and save the day. In Transporter 3, Paul Barrett plays the role of captain of the cargo ship where the story starts. The captain is the person in charge of the ship and its crew. In the movie, the captain knows that the ship is carrying something very dangerous, barrels full of toxic waste. Even though this is very bad and unsafe, the captain tries to hide the truth by getting rid of the workers who find out about the toxic barrels. His actions cause problems and show how some people make wrong choices when they want to keep secrets or make money. The captain's role is important because he is part of the start of the story, which leads to the adventure Frank Martin has to face. Paul Barrett's performance as the captain shows him as a serious and secretive person. He acts like someone who wants to control the situation and hide bad news from others. Even though the captain is not a good person in the story, Paul Barrett makes him feel real and believable. His acting helps kids understand that sometimes people make mistakes or do wrong things, but that can cause big problems later. The captain's role adds mystery and danger to the beginning of the movie, making the story more interesting. The captain faces some problems during the movie because the toxic waste he is trying to hide is very dangerous and can hurt many people. When the two workers discover the barrels, the captain has to decide what to do to keep the secret. His choice to get rid of the workers shows how he tries to protect himself but also cause more trouble. Paul Barrett's acting shows the captain's fear and worry about being caught, which teaches kids that making bad decisions to hide the truth is not a good way to solve problems. In the end, Paul Barrett's role as the captain helps start the adventure in Transporter 3. His character shows how dangerous and secrets can cause big troubles for many people. Even though he appears only at the beginning, the captain's actions are important because they help explain why Frank Martin has to get involved and save the day. Thanks to Barrett's acting, the movie begins with a serious problem that leads to the exciting journey and challenges Frank faces later. In Transporter 3, Elif Jack plays the role of mate, who is one of the workers on the cargo ship at the beginning of the movie. A mate on a ship is like an assistant to the captain or one of the crew members who helps with important jobs on the ship. In this story, Elif Jack's character helps with opening the shipping containers and checking what is inside. When the mate and another worker discover barrels full of toxic waste, they face a very dangerous situation. His role is important because it shows how the story begins with a secret and serious problem involving these harmful barrels on the ship. Elif Jack's performance as mate is brave and realistic. Even though the mate has a small role, Elif acts like a hardworking person who is doing his job carefully. His character faces a scary problem because the toxic waste barrels release dangerous fumes, and the mate and his friend get hurt because of it. Elif Jack shows these feelings in his acting, helping kids understand how important it is to be careful around dangerous things. His role also teaches a lesson about how people sometimes discover bad secrets that can affect many others. The biggest problem that Elif Jack's character faces is the toxic waste on the ship. When the mate and the other worker open the container, they do not know how dangerous it is at first. But soon they got sick because the fumes are poisonous. This is very scary and shows how dangerous the cargo really is. Sadly, because of the captain's bad decision, the mate and his friend do not get help and their situation becomes even worse. Elif Jack's acting helps us feel how scary and sad this moment is for the characters and how serious the problem is for the whole story. In the end, Elif Jack's role as mate helps start the whole adventure in Transporter 3. Even though he appears only in the beginning, his character is very important because he shows how the bad toxic waste was hidden and why the hero, Frank Martin, needs to stop the bad people. His part reminds kids that sometimes small roles can teach big lessons and help tell important stories. Thanks to Elif Jack's acting, the movie beginning feels real and exciting, leading to the big action and adventure that happens later. In Transporter 3, Michelle Newgarden plays a character named Sergei. Sergei is one of the helpers who works with the bad guys in the story. His job is to assist Jonas Johnson, the villain, and help him with his secret and dangerous plans. Sergei appears during some important scenes when the bad guys try to stop Frank Martin and keep control over the situation. Even though Sergei is not the main villain, he plays an important part by making sure the bad plans go smoothly. His role shows how teamwork is used by the bad people to cause trouble. Michelle Neugarten's performance as Sergei shows him as a strong and serious helper. He acts like someone who is loyal to the bad guys and ready to do what they ask. His character is quiet but careful, watching what is happening and helping when needed. Michelle makes Sergei look like a dependable helper who can follow orders and work in tough situations. His acting helps kids see that even helpers in stories can have important roles, even if they are not the main heroes or villains. Sergei faces some problems because the hero Frank Martin is a very smart and brave. Frank often stops the bad guys from finishing their plans, which makes Sergei's job difficult. Sometimes Sergei has to deal with quick changes or fight because Frank is chasing him or trying to save Valentina. Michelle Newgarden shows how Sergei gets serious and tries hard to follow orders, even when things get hard. This teaches kids that working in a team, even if it is for the wrong side, requires effort and focus. In the end, Michelle Newgarden's role as Sergei adds more action and excitement to Transporter 3. His character helps the story feel more complete because not all the bad guys are just one person. They have helpers like Sergei who work together. Thanks to Michelle's acting, kids can understand that many people can be part of a story's challenge, and heroes need to be smart and brave to face all of them. Sergei's character helps show the teamwork behind the bad plans and makes the movie more thrilling. In Transporter 3, Farid Ilkwardi plays a character named Yuri. Yuri is one of the helpers working for the bad guys in the movie. He is part of the group that tries to control the dangerous plan involving the toxic waste and the important package that Frank Martin has to deliver. Yuri helps the villain Jonas Johnson by following his orders and trying to stop Frank from saving Valentina and stopping the bad plan. Even though Yuri is not the main villain, his role is important because he makes the story more exciting and shows how the bad guys work together. Farid Ilkwardi's performance as Yuri shows him as a tough and serious helper. He acts like someone who is focused and ready to do whatever the bad guys ask him to do. Farid makes Yuri look like a strong and careful person who is always watching and trying to catch Frank or stop him from getting away. His acting helps kids understand that even helpers in stories can be important, and sometimes they have to make difficult choices to follow orders, even if it is not right. Yuri faces some problems because Frank Martin is very clever and brave. Frank often surprises the bad guys and stops their plans. This makes Yuri's job hard because he has to chase Frank, fight, or try to protect the villain's secrets. Farid Elkwardi shows how Yuri keeps trying to do this job, even when things get difficult. This teaches kids that sometimes people have to keep trying, even if the situation is tough or scary. But it's also important to think about doing the right things. In the end, Farid Ilkordi's role as Yuri adds more action and excitement to Transporter 3. His character shows how many people are involved in the villain's plan and how teamwork plays a big role in the story. Thanks to Farid's acting, kids can see that stories have many characters working together. And heroes like Frank have to be very smart and brave to face all of them. Yuri's character helps make the movie more thrilling and shows the challenges the hero has to overcome. In Transporter 3, Skilled plays a character called Giant. The Giant is a very big and strong man who works for the bad guys in the movie. Because he is tall and powerful, he helps the villain by doing difficult and tough jobs. The giant's size and strength make him a scary helper, and he tries to stop Frank Martin, the hero, from completing his mission. His role is important because he shows how some people can be very strong and make the hero's job harder. Semi's field performance as the giant is impressive and powerful. Since Semi is a real-life professional fighter and very tall, he fits the role perfectly. He acts like a big, strong person who does not say much but uses his strength to follow the villain's orders. Kids can see how Semi looks the moves and moves like someone very powerful, which makes the story more exciting. His character adds a big challenge for Frank because fighting someone so strong is not easy. The biggest problem the giant faces in the movie is dealing with Frank Martin. Frank is very smart and quick, and even though the giant is strong, Frank uses his cleverness to fight him. Semi-Sklit's acting shows how the giant tries his best but also gets surprised by Frank's skills. This helps kids understand that being strong is important, but using your brain and being smart is just as important. The giant's fight scenes teach us about courage and teamwork, because even the strongest need help sometimes. In the end, Semi-Shield's role as the giant makes Transporter 3 more exciting and fun to watch. The big size and strength add a lot of action to the movie. Thanks to Semi's performance, kids can enjoy the thrilling moments when Frank has to face his powerful opponent. The giant shows that in every story, heroes have to overcome big challenges, and sometimes those challenges come in the form of very strong people. Semi-Skilled's role helps make the adventure unforgettable and full of energy. The story of Natalia Rudakova got her big role in Transporter 3 is very interesting. One day, a famous movie maker named Luc Besson saw Natalia walking on the street in New York City. She was hurrying to her job at a hair salon, where she helped people with their hair. Luc Besson noticed something special about her and decided to help her become an actress. This was a very big chance for Natalia because she had never acted in movies before. Luc Besson wanted Natalia to be ready for the movie, so he paid for her to take 25 acting lessons. These lessons happened over 6 months, which means she learned a lot about how to act and be confident in front of the camera. After she finished her lessons, Luc Besson took her to Paris, the capital city of France, where she had to try out for the role by auditioning. Natalia worked hard and did her best, and finally she got the part in the movie. This was a dream come true for her. The shooting or filming of Transporter 3 was planned to take about 16 weeks. Most of the movie was filmed in France, which is a beautiful country with many amazing places. But the movie was also filmed in Odessa, a city in Ukraine. This means the movie has scenes from different parts of the world, making it excited to watch. Filming a movie is a big job because it takes a lot of time, people, and planning to make everything look just right. A famous movie critic named Roger Ebert talked about how special Natalia was for her role. He said it is rare to see leading ladies or main actresses who have lots of freckles on their faces. Freckles are little brown spots that some people have, and they make Natalia look unique and beautiful. This shows that movies can have different kinds of actors and actresses, and everyone can be special in their own way. Natalia's role story is inspiring because it shows how someone ordinary can become a star with help, hard work, and a big chance. Transporter 3 was different from the first two Transporter movie because it was released by a company called Lionsgate Films in the United States. Before this, the other movies were released by another company named 20th Century Fox. This means that a new company helped show Transporter 3 in movie theaters across America. When the movie first came out on its opening weekend, it was quite popular and went to number 7 on the list of most watched movies. During this first weekend, it earned about $12 million, which means many people went to see it. The movie did really well in theaters, not only in the United States but also in other countries. It earned $31.7 million in the United States and Canada combined. But it made even more money in other countries around the world, about $77.3 million. When we add all the money from all the countries together, the total is about $109 million.